That's a really tough thing, and one of the reasons HamTornado isn't paid the big coaching bucks. But I would say identify any single target on Atlanta Academy. Right now, GRUNTo are giving Atlanta a ton of space with their setups. They don't seem to strike decisively, and sometimes it might not be the best decision, but if everybody is making the same decision, it'll work out. That's easier said than done against a team like Atlanta, who just eat those kinds of things for breakfast. But for right now, GRUNTo rotating around, getting a bit of progress here, but again, what is he doing up there? So, if I would do anything, I would wait for the dive to come in and just swarm Rob. He has been the favorite target of Atlanta so far this series, and you cannot sustain this comp without your flex skill.
Love is still in the air. Rocket Barrage can change the dynamic of this fight, but now that they've lost the Mercy, there's no support here on the objective. Atlanta Academy should be stabilizing here in no time. Love does have Rocket Barrage for the next engage. Spectral, a little more than halfway onto the EMP, but Atlanta Academy still getting close to some of their ultimates as well.
And something that's really interesting with the way that Atlanta Academy play Goats is they always close out these fights very quickly. Goats is one of those comps where one of the main complaints with watching Goats in the past was that these fights are so long and interminable, but Atlanta Academy managed to find the focus fire to shut these comps down very, very quickly. Where other teams, Lucios, will get cut down when trying to wall ride and take down a Mercy, Funny Astro gets away with it.
Funny Astro takes down the Mercy once again. Kodak trying to keep Wub in check. Funny Astro going to get another final blow. That's 2 for him in this fight as Atlanta Academy will maintain their defense.
Oh no, 2 supports and a Pharah for Funny Astro's bag of kills. GRUNTo right now just don't seem to be able to press the advantage that their comp succeeds at against Atlanta Academy, right? You have so much mobility, you have so much damage, but it doesn't matter how much damage you have if you're not able to land those rockets against a slippery Lucio that's wall riding and poking you in the face. Salty is actually going to swap to the Brigida just to see if GRUNTo can get something going on this ground game, because Wub has this barrage now for 3 fights.
Yep, he's there. So is the Rocket Barrage. That's 2 kills, but he's going to take himself down. Salty switching over to the Brig. Seemed like it was the right move at the right time as Atlanta Academy finally stumble here with about 1 minute and 40 seconds left for GRUNTo. They will be grabbing this point, but it's just a matter of continuing this trek towards the last stages of the fight.
Exactly. We got to string together multiple winning fights. And Saucy throwing out that grab and getting nothing but the history of the Bonnie banner. Just a little bit of a lull, a chuckle here in what's otherwise a stomp for Atlanta so far. Hawk, though, kicks off Umte, and that means GRUNTo probably not going to find much more progress on this point without their main thing.
Atlanta Academy know what they're doing. They're going to push those advantages, and GRUNTo very smart. They know what they're doing as well. Going to go ahead and cede some of that space, but it seems so monumentous to go into Atlanta Academy and have to do that all over again after working so hard to get the initial momentum on your side. Gator has that primal rage. Spectral could get bullied out here. He's going to translocate just in time, but during that 1v1 against Gator, Sugar Free takes his counterpart down.
So you see the way that Atlanta are working right now. They essentially had a 5-man dive here, all collapsing on the GRUNTo backline. And while Gator was by himself and vulnerable, GRUNTo weren't able to pick up that was what's happening and isolate the Winston. I mean, he had Primal and he was going to be fine anyways, but as it stands, Atlanta Academy are essentially gambling each time they engage that GRUNTo is not going to be able to mechanically execute to push them away so they can do things like 5-man dives.
Umte's going to go ahead and change over to the Arista. 6-man EMP now coming in from GRUNTo Esports. The barrage is there as well, so it seems like GRUNTo know their game plan. It's the EMP into the barrage. It's been working out for them so far, but it's all on Spectral and Wub. This is what they needed this whole time, to work together, get that EMP and barrage going at the same time, because when you don't have it, you're probably on the losing side of these fights.
And I like this swap onto Arisa Umte. The Hammond provides really no protection for the backline, and Rob has been falling so often that you need to start thinking about investing a bit of barriers for your backline. And now this means that Salty's also going to get quite a bit more value from this Brigida. You have a set objective that you're going to be brawling around.
Gator's doing a really good job interfering with Wub and making his life just so hard to live in the sky, even though you're just a monkey onto the ground.
No!
Oh my goodness, friends, you know what that means. Hawk is going to get 4 kills. Oh man, it finally feels so good to let that out. We wait 2 seasons to do it. Atlanta Academy and GRUNTo Esports Oh man, this just stabilized for Atlanta thanks to a 4K from Hawk.
How do you come back from that, man? Hawk said it's easy mode. Come on, man. This is the first time you had more than a triple kill this entire season. We've been waiting to unleash the cause of doom this whole time. Still, though, Atlanta cannot relax. GRUNTo still have the tools to pull off the same combo that they've been winning fights with piecemeal, EMP and Barrage, and now they have some extra shielding for Drop.
Oh, I love that placement of the Graviton Surge. Skirting the shield makes it so you can push that damage in, forcing Orisa to move the shield, which gives the other side some vulnerability. Now you got the EMP into Barrage this time around, though. Atlanta doing a little bit better on dealing with that combo. If they're able to overcome these cooldowns, they should be stabilizing once again with less than a minute left and potentially another hold. Atlanta Academy have a chance to contest, but it's looking like they should to this space instead. Especially if
Sugar Free goes down. GRUNTo still working on cleaning people up on the point, and you can see Wub is so much work cut out for him. He's not just chunking down the tanks and trying to keep them from aggressing on his backline. He has to kill the supports too, who know no fear. And you don't have to be HamTornado to struggle to hit those Lucios at times, so it takes not only a ton of resource for the DPS to deal with Atlanta, but a lot of mental capacity as well.
Gator's going to try his best to do a little bit of healing for his team. If he's in front of them, it's going to be very hard to aggress upon the back line of Sugar Free using that rally. Now they're going to rotate back onto the payload. I love the movement coming in from Atlanta Academy in this situation. Is Gator going to get hacked, but his team has got his back. Kodak now getting a coalescence kill. Doesn't matter if your shield is up when it goes through it, as Gator still has this Primal Rage at his disposal. Gator, man, he knows what he's doing on this monkey. He's got that plan, and he's executing along with Atlanta Academy. The only thing they haven't figured out is this EMP into Barrage combo.
It only comes every 3 fights or so, though. So honestly, if you're at Atlanta Academy, that's something that you're willing to take. Just the price of playing here. And again, no! And now Barrage comes in. It only captures 1, not the same value that they found in the past. And in the meantime, Gator is rampaging in the backline. Hawk picks up yet another 2. Is there any stopping them?
This is a Numbani spawn camp, everybody. We don't see this every day. This is huge for Atlanta Academy because they got the Barrage out without the EMP. And so now GRUNTo have to make it their own way. They're going to go ahead and do the switch into that Somber Goat since EMP is all that they have. They got 24 seconds. Is it going to be enough? The Spectral going to get seen. The EMP doesn't do that much because he's going to die right away. And Atlanta Academy should be wiped the floor with GRUNTo for this fight. There's 13 seconds left. And seeing that there was a spawn camp earlier, I don't see how GRUNTo make it back to the payload.
Spectral's going to try with the Hammond, but it's not looking likely. The key thing there was the EMP did not catch Kodak, who was coalescing the entire time. So, shut down one door, Atlanta Academy opens a window. And GRUNTo, they made quite a bit of progress after a very, very rough start, but that's where the cart's gonna stop. The question always is, when you're relying on the EMP Barrage combo as well as what are you gonna do on third point? Pharah has a really hard time on third point. Small space, you're basically in a bowling alley.
You get like self-funneled.
Right, exactly. So that combo probably wouldn't have gotten GRUNTo very far regardless, even if they hadn't gotten taken out of system by Atlanta Academy. So good at just putting their feet on the throats of their enemy and never letting up that pressure.
So Atlanta Academy and GRUNTo Esports are now in the final stages of Numbani. 2 points and 28.32 meters for GRUNTo. That is the time and distance to beat for Atlanta Academy, who have been killing it so far. Not only killing it, but killing a lot of GRUNTo. and finally, GRUNTo finally have a game plan that they've seen the light at the end of the tunnel with, right? They got the EMP, they've got the Barrage. Atlanta's fallen 3 or 4 times already on Numbani from that combo, but we just saw Atlanta take them out of that rhythm there. We need to use the Barrage to just get out of spawn on Numbani. I literally do not remember the last time I experienced that personally or even seen that in a game.
It's very unusual, and GRUNTo hopefully not losing their cool now in the last seconds of Numbani. Atlanta Academy only 1 round away from taking this series, 1 more map to their current golden season. And GRUNTo gotta find need to find those EMP barrage combos, because so far that seems to be the only thing that's working. They have Salty on this Brigitte basically just to keep the backline safe, keep Umte safe, have somebody to take all of that damage when the Atlanta tanks aggress on the point. And Kodak still on this Moira, no surprises here.
Saucy going to go ahead and switch over to the Zarya. They're going to be running the same comp they've been running on the Bonnie, and why not? It's been working for you. So Atlanta Academy are going to be approaching the point very shortly as GRUNTo going to be scouting them out. Spectral getting some nice and progress. You actually really want to see that pop up a little bit more before the translocate has been used, and Hawk already getting the kill. He's taken down Zolik in the sky so often during this whole series, and even are good at potentially isolating and taking down support. Doing this frequently, that's I think more on Hawk than on Zolik at this point in time, because Atlanta Academy just mechanically, strategically, and mentally outplaying GRUNTo right now.
I think there's really only so much self-agency you have as a support. Both Rob and Zolik very dependent upon where the rest of their team is positioned, and so far GRUNTo just have not been able to. This is, again, this tempo insane. Every ultimate out as they get them, because they can just execute like that. This is very difficult to find because a lot of teams just don't play GOATs to this level.
So that was actually really cool to see, because Kodak started to coalescence, and Salty was looking for the shield bash, but you know who popped right in front of them during the shield bash was Gator, peeling for his team, keeping that coalescence going, keeping Kodak alive, and since you're in front of him anyway, you're also receiving the healing from the coalescence, so you're going to be safe anyway. So really heads up play from Atlanta. That's the type of micro plays that other teams just aren't really doing.
And that's what's putting them ahead, putting them on top of the group so far, but the anti-barrage combo available now for GRUNTo. Gator getting stunned out as well. He has the Primal, so he's going to be alive.
Rocket Barrage goes through, so does the EMP. EMP is not as good as the Barrage shows up on the kill feed, but it's still a 5v5, and in this situation, you want to give it to Atlanta, especially after Hawk gets a couple other kills. The res does go through, Zolik does survive for the time being. This is now evened up here, but the payload has made tons of progress. GRUNTo Esports are going to need a monumental hold here in order to keep Atlanta Academy from winning this map, and the way to hold is to not die, is to get kills yourself, but they're getting killed themselves instead. Atlanta Academy do cap the second point. They've got 5.5 minutes to go 28 meters. It should be good to go for them.
Yeah, especially with Saucy around the corner going for the flanking grab. He could catch them before they can even touch this point. Umte taking a different route. Wub in the air as well, and oh, they're just gonna burn him.
No amount of healing was going to save you from that situation. That is a good solo grab coming in from Saucy. Those get very valuable as you get to end stages in these games. EMP, though, going to try to make things interesting. 5 members of Atlanta Academy hacked, but none of them fall. The payload should be walking through to the green box of victory here as Atlanta Academy take down GRUNTo Esports and secure the #1 spot for the time being here in their group, North America East. GRUNTo Esports are in second place. There's no way a team can surpass them today. So Atlanta Academy will finish the day in first. GRUNTo will finish the day in second. And the rest is still up for grabs. But Atlanta Academy continuing their golden season. That's 3 map wins. And it's just so crazy to me that, I believe it was Funny Astro at the beginning of the season, might have even been in half jest. Right? That was like, we're going to have a perfect season. We're not going to lose a map, but here we are.
Here we are, and a big part of Atlanta's success so far is what you're seeing on the kill feed right here. Funny Astro able to take down the Mercies in the air, take down Rob on this Ana. And the unfortunate thing with GRUNTo is that the combinations of heroes that they're running here can absolutely work against a GOAT's composition, but it requires that much higher of a ceiling for execution. You need to be landing every single rocket, getting every single hack that has follow-up right behind it. Whereas Atlanta Academy, this is why GOATs was so popular and really the only meta for so long, is you can find so much utility from these heroes, whether defensively, offensively, and when you have Funny Astro, who's pumping out damage, versus Zolik, who by nature of pharmacy is really only useful by pocketing a Pharah, you're having the amount of damage and impact that you can have, because as you can see right here, Zolik is spending almost all of his time simply running away from Atlanta when they are pushing the tempo.
This was GRUNTo's best play. It was this one right here, the 6-man EMP into Barrage. This is when you saw a little bit of the confidence come through from GRUNTo. They finally had something that worked, right? It's when you're working on a math problem or learning a new piece of music and everything you tried ends up with the wrong answer. This time around, you finally make some progress, but then Hawk gets 4 kills on a self-destruct. It's every time GRUNTo does something well, Atlanta Academy have a response for it.
And they one-up you.
It took a while with the EMP barrage, but just inherently, you're going to need EMP every single time. So you're going to lose every fight until you have it, and that's going to take time off the clock. You're really going to need that to be on your side anyway for that to work. Atlanta Academy just... It's like GRUNTo are marionettes at this point. Atlanta Academy are the puppeteers.
Yeah, pulling all the strings. GRUNTo having such a hard time isolating any of Atlanta Academy, because if you have a single person within your sights, you can easily burn them down with a Sombra and a Pharah, but Atlanta Academy just playing as one the entire time. Gator gets low, Kodak already has popped Coalescence before that even happens. So Atlanta Academy really just functioning on a different level right now.
Well, it's also been very interesting that Kodak's been able to use Coalescence just willy-nilly pretty much, because Spectral's not been getting him in his EMPs. When he has, Barrage comes, and they win. The Atlanta Academy just not falling victim to those types of plays that often so far. And we're seeing GRUNTo get spawn camped on Nambani. I don't think I've ever seen this in a professional game before, and Atlanta Academy forced GRUNTo to use ultimates to make it out of spawn, and it was all she wrote after that.
You see Spectral right there trying to EMP Atlanta, getting caught in the grab on route. And Atlanta really controlling the tempo so far, and outside of a miracle, I don't really see that changing as we head into our 4th map, which is Escort, very similar to Hybrid. But GRUNTo have things to work on, right? There's moments where they were able to hold Atlanta Academy back, and that's what you got to grasp on and how to build the team for the rest of the season.
So if you were to pick out, I know the easy answer is everyone's doing well, right? If you were to pick out maybe what you believe is the main reason or the main player on Atlanta Academy as to why this is working out so well, who would you say is the one that's kind of like leading the charge?
Well, the leading the charge would definitely be Gator. He, as the Winston, as the main tank, he's going to be the one making the decision to initiate where and when, oftentimes. And so I think he has excellent choices. Even though excellent, though predictable. Always a deep dive, another deep dive. And we saw, Bermuda actually, or not Bermuda, excuse me, Uprising Academy attempt this very same tactic with UMTE, who always dives deep, always goes for the back line. But where Atlanta Academy and Uprising differ is that all of Atlanta is right behind their Winston. And not saying that one is necessarily better or worse. You got to look at the teams individually and who they're matching up against. But Atlanta find a ton of success by essentially simply rushing the entire team before they can really react. And when GRUNTo is not running a Brigida for a lot of that, that means that there is really no CC way to push them away from your backline. You got to kill them outright.
Atlanta's playing chess. Other teams right now are playing checkers, right?
I was going to say Connect 4.
Even though, like, the thing about Atlanta Academy is how they're even positioning during these fights. Who's in front of who's flanking what shield is in front of what other shield is just going without a hitch right now. And I think GRUNTo needs to find a way to cause them to get out of the rhythm, just like Atlanta caused them to do during that EMP Rocket Barrage time that GRUNTo Esports had. That was when they were finding that success. I do love what they're running here. I like seeing the Bastion at this point in time, because why not push in that damage, get it in there? But unlike our teams from before our last game, Atlanta Academy barely even taking that damage from this Bastion.
Yeah, Spectral right now trying really hard to farm up to that EMP, but not really able to get much going. And it's going to be Kodak who pops it first. And Gator does go down, but it's not going to matter in the long run, even at such close distance to the GRUNTo spawns, who, though, for their own, to their credit, now will... I was hoping to see a bit more Bastion. Had tank, but might as well swap onto the Brigida, especially when you're running up against another Brigida. It's always nice to have that in your tool chest.
Yeah, GRUNTo was benefited by the fact that Gator did fall, and so it takes a long time for that Reinhardt to come back, and that's going to give GRUNTo Esports a little bit more space to work with. But Gator is here, so is the Graviton Surge, and the Ally Barrier is there as well. Everything functioning by the numbers for Atlanta Academy still.
Rob got trans the moment he died. Literally the millisecond he died, he got trans, because Atlanta Academy are kind of biding their time. You saw right there, Gator didn't go in for the short charge. They weren't worried about picking up the kills, even though they could have and should have if the timing had just worked out a little bit better for GRUNTo, but now they're primed and ready with this EMP. This is perfect positioning.
Oh, not as perfect, I think, as you would have wanted as Atlanta Academy responded accordingly. Saucy, I believe the only one that got hacked. Gator was stunned, and so he goes down. Kodak is hacked himself. The Coalescence is going to come right after that hack falls. Atlanta Academy still not out of this yet. Let's see if they're going to try to grind this one out. They're giving that space. They have a little space to work with while Gator comes back.
Ready with this Shatter now, and so GRUNTo with some good options right here. It's not all over for them at all, and Atlanta Academy can't rest on their laurels. They're running a Moira, so no Transcendence for Salty's eventual grab.
And so GRUNTo Esports come in with 4 ultimates. The Transcendence is there, but Kodak's going to go ahead and use the Coalescence. Gator has the Earth Shatter, doesn't find anyone on GRUNTo. The Bindo onto Gator. This is the first time we've really seen Atlanta Academy get picked apart by GRUNTo so far this series without having to utilize a Wombo combo. This one is just mechanically more inclined going GRUNTo Esports' way. The pin onto Gator is all that they need because Atlanta Academy are going to see this first point. They did take a good amount of time off the clock, but now is when the nitty-gritty really starts, is when we get to the distillery.
Yeah, positioning is key here. We saw Bermuda hash it out with Uprising Academy for about 2 minutes, just utilizing the catwalks and dancing around each other. So there's certainly possibility for Atlanta Academy to hold GRUNTo, who though will be coming into this EMP. So again, this is something that Atlanta have no defenses in, so they just have to react.
Graviton Surge now coming in from Saucy. This time around responded with the sound barrier. Once these overshields go down, it's gonna be hard for GRUNTo Esports to push. They need to find some picks. That they do. Is the pick gonna use a Shatter? 2 are on the ground. Atlanta Academy should be losing out once again as Hawk gets D-Mag. Uptake finally coming online. GRUNTo Esports playing with some confidence that we haven't seen so far, but Kodak is flanking on the other side with the Coalescence and pushes GRUNTo Esports off of the payload.
Sometimes you only need 3. It's such a strong combo. Lucio, Moira, and Brigitte. So very difficult to isolate any single one of those heroes and take them down quickly. So GRUNTo have to come at it once again with a 6v6, but tools aplenty in their pockets.
EMP goes through. 3 members of Atlanta Academy are hacked, but Sound Barrier comes right after. Gator dying first a lot so far here in Havana, but at least there's a return kill for the Academy. GRUNTo Esports now still in this. They use the Transcendence. Zenyatta is a character that has been in this game, even though Atlanta Academy's been playing this comp this whole time. Atlanta Academy now going to fall victim to another huge Shatter from Umte. GRUNTo Esports should continue on this payload. Atlanta Academy now falling apart at the seams. Remember, the stakes are still high for them. If they lose Havana, they lose their golden season.
Exactly. They got to be playing with their heads screwed facing forward here, because GRUNTo Esports making very good time through Distillery, and potentially this is where they're getting a little bit too complacent. However, this next fight likely to go Atlanta Academy's way. They have Grab and Coalescence. Those 2 ultimates actually a great combo in and of themselves.
Grab going to be coming in from GRUNTo first. Dropjack gets a nice initial pick off the funny Astro, but the HP for GRUNTo is a little worse off than Atlanta Academy right now. Spectral holds on to the EMP. That's very smart from him as Atlanta Academy stabilized with 1 minute, 25 seconds left.
This next fight, though, could go GRUNTo's way. Very back and forth depending on who happens to have the hot hand with the grab in it. Atlanta Academy do have Shatter ready, and Hawk very close to the bomb. You can make usage of the sight lines in order to find some kills here or there, but GRUNTo with Spectral already in place.
Translocate up. Atlanta Academy must have spotted that one out, but it doesn't matter for Sugar Free as he falls. But Atlanta Academy still very healthy post EMP, especially since Rob gets taken down. Nice boop onto Umte, forcing him to give back a little space before he shatters, and that's just enough time for the shield to come up. If you're Gator, Umte charging into the backline. Hawk is going to go ahead and use that self-destruct. Is he going to be able to get back in? Yes, he will somehow, even though he's in the corner. Well, it's going to be thanks to Kodak's Coalescence, and he's going to get a follow-up kill onto the Reinhardt on the other side. Atlanta Academy stabilized once more with 30 seconds left against GRUNTo, who at least will have EMP, but do they have enough time to do anything with it?
They'll have EMP, they'll probably have Grav, but once the ultimates fly, GRUNTo don't seem to have a very solid game plan. You saw Wub essentially chasing Umte, trying to get that heal pack onto him, and the communication just doesn't seem to be 100% there for GRUNTo. Spectral also off on some corner, firing into the massive Atlanta Academy.
and he hits 5 on Atlanta Academy, but the first blood comes in from Sugar Free. Graviton Searcho is going to make it very hard for Atlanta Academy to try to stabilize here. Earthshatter goes down from Gator. Salty and Umte are on the ground. Umte gets hit. He's going to try to curve it around. That he does. That little bit of curve makes the cooldown go away with the ally shield, and now he's going back to spawn. Funny Astro going to do a little bit of booping and bopping himself. Hawks in the backside trying to self-destruct, but he's going to get back in it through the mech. No one's on the point, and for the time that being as Kodak goes down, it looks like GRUNTo might have done enough to capture the second point, but man, Atlanta made them work for it. Good news is for GRUNTo is throughout Distillery and throughout the first point, Atlanta Academy struggled against them. They're going to be able to stop them here on the last point of Havana.
I feel with the way the series has gone so far, GRUNTo needed material evidence that Atlanta Academy can bleed, and they certainly can, and GRUNTo brought it to them. However, this is when things get more and more tricky. Havana is a new map. Fortress is a point that a lot of teams don't see that often, and so GRUNTo needs to be able to keep their heads in the game. Nice hack onto Gator, just buying a bit of time, and that's the kind of heads-up play you've got to go for.
Yeah, funny Astro and the rest of the Atlanta Academy making some mental mistakes they have not made throughout the rest of this series so far.
I mean, Funny Astro has been going for those very, very risky plays the entire game, but it's only now that GRUNTo have punished him for it.
Coalescence goes through just to try to push GRUNTo away. It does work. Moira develops that ultimate so quickly, you can use it at tempo. You're going to have it pretty much as an ability cooldown anyway. We're at the 30-second warning now for GRUNTo Esports. Atlanta Academy don't have anything online, but GRUNTo Esports too. Salty has that grab, but Funny Astro going to get a pick onto Wub. So this is a 65 right now. Will the Graviton Surge be able to overcome that man advantage? Right now, Umte doing his best. It's a 5v5, but look at the backline. Hawk trying to do a little bit of interference. He's going to boost away. EMD now is going to hit 3 members of Atlanta Academy. Transcendence has been used from Rob Dab as well. This is the best GRUNTo Esports has functioned as a team all series long. Umte going to get charged off from Gator. He's not going to go down on his own. Will Atlanta Academy be able to compete on this payload? The spawns are there, but are their feet fast enough?
Looks likely. Sound error from Funny Astro catches 4 members. GRUNTo now with the rally, trying to buy a bit of time, get Salty, get anybody up to these ultimates, because Umte is just now rejoining his team, and Rob is getting lasered, absolutely demolished by Kodak's Coalescence. He manages to stay alive for now, but not Salty. More Spectral. The grab is going to be the nail in the
oh my goodness!
for Atlanta Academy, but Rob!
It's not just Rob, it was the shatter as well coming in from Umte. That is a game-saving shatter. That might be a golden season-ending shatter if you're GRUNTo Esports. Umte knocks 4 onto the ground on Atlanta Academy. Rob Dad ends with a 15-player kill streak, and GRUNTo Esports complete Havana. Atlanta Academy have got to be shaking in their boots at this point in time because, remember, they have yet to lose a map so far. Havana was completed. Teams having a hard time completing Havana so far this season. Atlanta Academy now have to do something that they haven't done before, which is come from behind. Let's see if they're going to be able to complete the map. Umte with a 4-man shatter there at the very end. Rob Dab gets the kills, but they're set up by the big German man.
What is it about Havana Third and massive fatty shatties? Umte, Stand 1, I think Clone Man just last week. Man, what is it? I think it must be the come from behind type of mechanic. Everybody had forgotten that Umte was still lumbering back to his team with that ultimate ready, but talk about, showing up when it really matters. And Rob able to execute and put in that damage when the opportunity presented itself. A bit of a pause here. Maybe another one of the GRUNTo peeps will let you guys know, but Atlanta Academy, maybe they're not shaking necessarily, but they're definitely slapping themselves for that one.
What do you think the biggest difference is between what GRUNTo was doing in the first 3 maps versus what they were doing here in Havana? I think one of the biggest differences is Rob finally went over to the Zenyatta, which is what we've used to counter grab forever before this season. And it took 3 maps for them to actually transition over to that hero because Atlanta's been running, goats, a version of goats throughout most of these maps and series. And maybe GRUNTo finally breaking the code, getting the secret and pushing Atlanta Academy to the brink here on Havana. We might be seeing them take away this golden season, but Atlanta Academy, if they're good at anything, it's offense. So let's see if they're going to be able to make it through Havana after this pause. Atlanta Academy have already won this series. GRUNTo did not do well for those first 3 games, but I think they can take a lot of information out of this map individually.
So this is something that we've been bringing up throughout this season. DPS comps versus 222, triple DPS, goats, right? 3-3, which is the quote unquote best composition? When do you play them? Why was goats meta for so long? And now we're seeing it shift to DPS favored compositions. And I think there's a ton of factors that go into it, but at some point you have to take a look at the intrinsic advantages and disadvantages of these comps. What GRUNTo was running for all 3 maps until Havana was a great composition for any team except Atlanta, who play that Moira Goats so tightly that there's no wiggle room for you to find those kills unless you're executing perfectly with your Pharah, executing perfectly with your Sombra. And so I didn't want to say just go goats, but that could have been an option for GRUNTo during that painful Nimbani map. Just go goats. Rob is an amazing Ana, one of the originals, but I think we start to see the real value of Zenyatta. Zenyatta has always been a great pick against Moira because you can shred tank targets a lot faster than she can heal them. Plus, you get that transcendence just in case of grabs, just in case of shatters, anything like that. Because Ana, as great as she is, cannot penetrate barriers.
Ooh, I'm still thinking about MT Shatter. Sorry, everybody. That was absolutely huge.
You were jumping,
Shatter
shaking,
at the very
man.
end. Atlanta Academy didn't know how to respond because they couldn't. So now that we're going to see Atlanta Academy on the offensive side, GRUNTo Esports now need to recreate the magic they just had on the defense. Spectral going to be scouting out the comp, and GRUNTo looking like they're going to give a little bit of space here on the payload.
Interestingly, and Rob on the Ana again. So maybe they're not expecting a Zarya, but I would at this point. Kodak picking up the Moira and already 22% to Coalescence. That's just insane, dude. You can just sit back here, allow his tanks to take that damage and have ultimate before the first fight.
And Kodak also using the Biotic Orb is a really great way to bait the defense matrix out so something else could come through. But right now, Spectre going to continue the high hand as he's going to take Sugar Free down, Salty and Gator very low. Kodak, though, going to return kill. Not good enough as GRUNTo Esports should be stabilizing here on the defense.
And this is what they desperately needed, is to get some early kills, some early fight wins here so they can pad that ultimate bank and then start doling out those ultimates as the fights progress, because you can't be winning the ultimate fight if you don't got none. So Atlanta Academy now going to be looking at the usage of Kodak's Coalescence. I mean, for Atlanta Academy, they just continue to play as they have been because this Goats has been so strong for them. It's up to GRUNTo to adjust their playstyle accordingly.
Uptake's going to drop down, get the nano, gravity, tragedy, or success. Another shatter goes through, this time from Gator. It's going to knock Salty and Uptake on the ground. Funny after gets that initial pick. Uptake now has the shatter of his own. 2 members on Atlanta Academy are going to fall down, but is it going to be enough as Uptake gets a follow-up kill with that charge? It's not for Uptake. GRUNTo Esports probably already lose this map, but because you've got that Reinhardt on your side, he's been outplaying Gator on the Reinhardt so far here on this map. Another big shatter for him.
And that's not something every main tank can say. Starting to outplay Gator, who really made his name as a super ultra aggressive and successful main tank. Because coming back from that Zarya loss is a very difficult thing to do. You don't do it without ultimates, and now GRUNTo still have 2. They're going to grab first.
Gator going to get bullied in the Graviton search, but he survives the initial damage. He's still alive somehow, but in the end, Spectral takes him down, and that's going to be an easy EMP for him as Atlanta Academy are going to fall victim to a 5-man EMP. Funny Astro once again gets a nice pick, a hack onto Hawk. Is going to keep that Diva in a check for the time being, and once again, GRUNTo just playing better than Atlanta Academy right now.
Yeah, this is how you work with EMP. This is how you find value, and the way that they're pushing Gator, very reminiscent of how people have taken advantage of Bumper's aggression in the past. Ultra focus on that Reinhardt. And GRUNTo right now, they haven't had to move, and they actually cut Atlanta Academy down to the same time bank that they faced in getting point A.
Coalescence should help out, though. He's going to go ahead and use it. Uptake, though, with another shatter. 2 are on the ground, and Sugar Free can't stay alive during this map. GRUNTo Esports gets another 2 picks to start things off. The Coalescence I think they're finally learning how to work around the Moira, as well as GRUNTo Esports has taken the time to under a minute. Atlanta Academy might lose this map, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, when you see Kodak swap off of Moira onto Zenyatta, you know something weird's going on. Atlanta Academy is really feeling the pressure right now. They don't have grab, they got bomb, they got shatter, but for all of their ultimates, it hasn't seemed to get them past this initial choke.
They got to take care of Spectral, and that they do. Kodak is going to take him down, but everyone else is working out for GRUNTo. Umte Salty on the ground, thanks to the Gator Earth Shatter, but no follow-ups. There's Umte, gets 2 more kills for GRUNTo Esports. 1 more fight win for GRUNTo. They have demolished Atlanta Academy's golden season. Will Atlanta be able to come back? Will they be able to get on the payload and finish off Havana? GRUNTo Esports doing the best they can to make sure that won't happen. Sugar Free has got to stay alive, but the EMP comes through. Kodak, though, uses his Transcendence just in time, but Gator is purple. Sugar Free finally shown up first, this time on the right side, taking down Rob Dab. Overtime has been initiated. Atlanta Academy's golden season is on the line. Spectral has to translocate away. GRUNTo Esports do fall here, but do Atlanta Academy capture this point?
Oh, Salty. If only Salty hadn't killed himself, it may have been possible for GRUNTo to bring this back. Hawk's voice line suspiciously quiet right now. It is still in the air as to who will hold here. GRUNTo Esports now without EMP, but they have Shatter. Umte has been a hero for GRUNTo so far, but can he stand up when his team most needs it?
Here we go. Diva Destruct doesn't happen, and the Earth Shatter comes through, but not as valuable as the ones in the past. But Hawk goes down, and they don't get on the payload. Atlanta Academy captures the first point. GRUNTo Esports lose the fight anyway, but you don't want to lose it like that. That gives Atlanta so much more momentum just in terms of, oh, GRUNTo Esports making mistakes now. We can go in a little bit more confidently.
I think Rob swaps to Zen too. This is going to be a battle about grab and transcendent deep. You see that swap come through. You also need that Discord Orb to at least make everything even against ATL, who now have Kodak, in Zen jail. It's a jail for him, who much prefers that Moira. But GRUNTo do have the trump card with Spectral's Sombra. All of those check marks. Saucy's grab not going to matter if we get the hack in. He's only 9 away from EMP.
Gator's stunned, and he's so very low. The utility pack has already been used on the Reinhardt, and Kodak gets another pick. Doesn't matter if you're on Moira or Zenyatta. Kodak is gonna be your man on support. He also has the Transcendence for Salty's grab. As of right now, Atlanta Academy made it through the first test of Havana. Here is the second one. You gotta make this turn, and they will do just that as Gator finally starting to pop off once more here. And Atlanta Academy continue on here in Havana. This has been a thrilling map so far.
Is ATL shook? Is ATL shook right now? I mean, attempting to solo shatter a Sombra and then not hitting her and then nearly dying. That's not the Atlanta that we've grown accustomed to, although it is kind of the classic Gator thing. Atlanta need to keep their wits about them. The same needs to be said for GRUNTo, who are facing the brunt of the rally, but they get EMP'd.
The EMP comes, but so does the sound barrier. So Atlanta Academy will respond correctly. Spectral, though, still developing that charge. Look, already at 25%. That's pretty much what we need for him. GRUNTo Esports now losing that defense slowly but surely. Atlanta Academy, you can kind of feel them clawing back.
You feel them. They want this win. They need this win. And now they've expended their ultimates. And when Atlanta Academy are pushing the momentum, that is when they are doing very, very well. You saw there was no downtime between that last fight to capture B and Salty, and that next engagement. And GRUNTo needs to be able to match them at this tempo.
Forces the Transcendence out, even though the shield wasn't there. So Rob a little bit trigger happy right now. Saucy going to use that Graviton Surge. It's an easy fight for Atlanta Academy. Sugar Free falls, but that's going to be it for them as GRUNTo Esports have to try once more. There's a minute and a half, and Spectral is going to go down. So EMP is going to come through potentially on this next fight. It could be an ender for Atlanta Academy, but if they get a win here, we're going to go to extra innings.
Yeah, very risky thing. GRUNTo, they need to buy a bit of time, but it's so hard when Saucy's chunking them down like that. Kodak has the Transcendence regardless.
Umte's gonna get shattered though! Sound barrier keeps him alive, but no, they lose Umte in the end. Spectral uses the EMP, but it's not going to be enough. The Transcendence is there to counter it. Atlanta Academy, by the skin of their teeth on the back foot, make it to the end of Havana. Golden season's still online for them.
Alive.
Here we go again. GRUNTo Esports will be attacking first. They've got to do exactly what they did last time, just a little quicker. Because they got held at spawn for, I believe, a fight, but after that, they were able to walk through Distillery and the end game, but they got to make it happen sooner.
Yeah, that is risky. So here's a really difficult thing for GRUNTo to answer. Do you put Rob on Honor or do you put him on Transcendence? Honestly, I don't fault Rob for popping Transcendence like that. ATL is a team known for explosivity, and they've proven it against GRUNTo throughout this series. And even if Rob doesn't die, his tanks have been dying and falling to Atlanta all the time. So I can understand his trigger, his very, well lubricated trigger finger right there, but it did end up spelling doom for them since he didn't have that to respond to Saucy's grab. But I mean, the hard part is Zen or Ana. His nano was a huge part of why GRUNTo was able to weaponize and hold ATL at first for so long. But the Ana value starts to drop off as you head into Distillery, as you head into the third point. So maybe GRUNTo start him off with the Ana, since they're attacking, maybe start him off with the Zenyatta, and then take a look at things.
Atlanta Academy are going to try to hold up close. I like this. We've seen this work very well, specifically this week. GRUNTo Esports now need to break through. It's been hard in the past. Here on Havana, they've made a lot more progress. Sugar Free and Funny Astro so low. Good biotic grenade from Rob Dab, allowing GRUNTo to break out of spawn. But look at this, Atlanta Academy still holding so very up close. And anytime off the clock here, even if Atlanta Academy loses, you're going to end up holding at the same exact spot anyway. And the Coalescence comes through, and you're seeing all of GRUNTo move back. They've not been able to get onto the payload just yet. The Earthshatter comes through, only gets Saucy. Hawk gets demeched. Saucy is down. Atlanta Academy losing members slowly but surely. They, I believe, have done enough to make this up close hold valuable by only giving GRUNTo Esports 10 seconds to make any more progress on this point. And as of right now, they're still having a hard time cleaning it up. And they have to use the grab. They have to use the grab. This is going to make every fight following this much harder for them. That's what Atlanta Academy wanted.
Exactly. They know this is going to be an overtime fight, so any time cut off the time bank is a win. And now Kodak's going to have another Coalescence. This is the early fights power spike that Atlanta Academy have been working so well. I just want to point out his first Coalescence, 30 seconds. So GRUNTo need to start trying to match that. Spectral has the ability to shut that down if it comes out.
Sound barrier is there. I think the response from the bomb might have been enough for Atlanta Academy to potentially push through, but a beautiful biotic grenade from Rob Dab evens it out. 5v5 now for both of these teams. Spectral already using the most important cooldown that GRUNTo Esports had. Untamed died with that shatter. Now that there's a sound barrier for Atlanta, I don't see how GRUNTo comes back from this. This is where the payload will stop for GRUNTo Esports, and this is where Atlanta Academy need to make it to in order to keep their golden season alive.
The hold is possible. The hold is absolutely possible, though, for GRUNTo, who held Atlanta right here, right at this building, with their Ana defense in the past. But they've shown their hand now. Atlanta Academy knows how they like to play it. Is that going to be enough for Atlanta to continue their golden season? I don't know, man. Are you a betting man?
I am a betting man.
Yes. What is your take here?
I think they're going to do it, but we got to let the players decide for us instead. I also don't want to cast curse them because I don't want them all to.
Here. I'll say.
I think they can both do it.
I think, cop out. I'm going to say I think GRUNTo can hold. Now we've evened the caster curse.
Okay, cool. Okay. Everything is righted with the world. Atlanta Academy have 1 minute and 52 seconds. The thing that's scary about Atlanta at this current time is they seem to have adjusted to what GRUNTo Esports have thrown at them. It was the slowest adjustment all series, but the adjustment seems to have been made. Atlanta Academy don't finish that map if they don't adjust. That they do. Atlanta Academy looking strong. 1 minute, 52 seconds to make it to the golden box of victory.
Something that they haven't adjusted, though, and have maintained is they still constantly all over Rob, who cannot rest. Whether he is a Zen or an Ana, Atlanta Academy are always looking for ways to take him down. So since GRUNTo are playing on the low ground here, he is still vulnerable. He's still liability. Oh, Salty's down!
Not just Salty, but Umte as well. The hot streak from Umte has definitely cooled off. It's pretty much ice water for him. The hero of Havana for GRUNTo, potential hero. But he's not going to be a hero if they lose this map. Atlanta Academy slowly but surely approaching that box of victory.
It's like the tide's coming in. Is there that feeling of inevitability? GRUNTo may be able to put down their flood barriers and stop the encroaching wall, but it's going to be very difficult. Kodak now shooting from range as the Zen. He's not on the Moira this time. Maybe that's going to be the magic ticket for Atlanta Academy. Bunny Astro is hacked. Nothing happens, though.
Salty is going to get bullied out, and Hawk trying to take him down, but he might lose his mech because of it, and now there's a Transcendence to try to save the mech that was lost anybody, but with the Bunny Blaster, Hawk is going to take down Upte, and Atlanta Academy's golden season continues as they sweep GRUNTo Esports and move past this game with no map losses. No losses in general. GRUNTo Esports made it so very interesting and exhilarating Havana, if I say so myself. The Atlanta Academy keep them at bay and continue their season.
Nobody needs FaceApp anymore because I think we've all just aged 20 years after watching that series.
Just the last
okay,
let's be accurate.
To be fair, just the last map. But it was very interesting. There was plenty to dissect there. I feel like we've got an entire series worth of material to VOD review. And that's definitely what GRUNTo are going to be doing after today's match. Congratulations, Atlanta Academy. They didn't need to make many adjustments, but when it was forced upon them, they did, and now they continue their golden path forward. And the thing for both of these teams is their future schedule as well, a little bit more easy, not quite as uphill. So Atlanta Academy, the perfect season is still definitely within their reach. And for GRUNTo Esports, it's very possible for them to rebound back after this loss. It's certainly going to be very disappointing for that squad who really tried their darndest.
So Atlanta Academy of this group and Envy of North America West are both 8 maps away from completing a golden regular season. If you're curious for Atlanta, their next 2 games, I believe, are Bermuda and Sky Foxes, which in my opinion are totally winnable. Sky Foxes could maybe take a map, but the way that they've been playing over the last 2 weeks, Atlanta definitely looks like the stronger team. We're going to see Sky Foxes a little later today. We can make that decision after that game, but we got to take a break. That's going to be it for Ham and I. That Atlanta GRUNTo Havana map was amazing to cast and watch. Thank you so much for watching. Atlanta Academy solidify themselves on top of the standings in North America East, but we still have a whole half a day of games remaining. ZP and Avast will be bringing you those calls, and we'll see you in 6.